Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Porte ISD, and thank you for being here. It is now 7:01 p.m., Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, and I hereby call this meeting to order. Notice that this meeting was posted in the manner required by law at 5 p.m., October 4th. The Board of Trustees of LaPorte Independent School District is now convened. Let the record show that all trustees, with the exception of Mr. Shoppy, are present and a quorum is present. As LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees, every student's success is our number one priority. We are here to set goals, adopt policy, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and communicate the district's vision and success to the community. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. School board meetings are open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. However, audience participation is limited to the patron presentation portion of the meeting, and board members may not respond to those comments made in public comment section. These proceedings may be recorded, and I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. At this time, please stand for the presentation of colors led by the LaPorte ROTC. Tonight, on the American flag, Command Sergeant Major Yasmin Solis, Texas flag, Staff Sergeant Danica Himes, American Rifle, Captain Aiden Trant, and Texas Rifle, Captain Taylor Pugh. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Seat. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Center. Base. Mark time. March. Forward. March. Tonight's invocation will be given by Trustee Melissa Crutcher.
If you would, please bow your heads with me. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in thanks and gratitude for all of the students, staff, and community of LaPorte ISD. Lord, thank you for entrusting us with this task to oversee and provide services and the necessary aspects of education for this district. And thank you so much for trusting us with all of the students. It is our hope that you will continue to bless us with safety, health, and all of the things that bring joy to these students in the days like this, that there are things happening across our country that are devastating and just out of control. But we ask that you bring some peace to us and peace to them, knowing that your presence is there. Lord, please be with them every day, watch over them, and help us to make decisions tonight that will be for the betterment of this district. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. We're now going to move on to item 5, board recognitions, and tonight's recognitions will be presented by Director of Communication, Mr. Adam Hawley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, on the recognitions portion of this agenda is the Sarah Vargo and the Bayshore Elementary Singers. And as they are lining up, we have a really good escape plan when the performance is over. And I say that jokingly, but parents and kiddos will go out this door and it circles around, but it just prevents bottlenecking, which happens quite a bit when we have a big crowd like this. So with that, Ms. Vargo. Good job, guys.
Good job. Thank you. Bye, good job.
Make sure the microphone's off before you start up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to our student recognitions. And every summer, that's when AP scholars are recognized. So we traditionally recognize AP scholars at our October meeting. And tonight, LaPorte High School Principal Dr. Cade Griffin has the honors of announcing these names.
Thank you. This is actually one of my favorite nights of the entire year, where we truly get to celebrate LaPorte High School's best and brightest. The AP curriculum is by far the most rigorous curriculum that we have on campus, and so the College Board decided that they would set up a system where we could recognize those students who not only take those classes, but are very successful over time, which is a very difficult achievement to make. And so there are 3 different levels of AP Scholar. There are students who are recognized as AP Scholar. That means that they've scored at least a 3 on 3 different exams. There's AP Scholar with Honor, which means that they have an average of a 3.25 on every exam, and they've passed at least 4 of them. And then there's AP Scholar with Distinction, which means that they average a 3.5 on every test that they take, and they've passed at least 5 AP exams. What's special about the students that we have here tonight is most students achieve this honor once they graduate. So after their senior year, they've passed enough tests that they're able to reach the distinctions. Every student that we're honoring tonight has met that standard while they are still in high school, which is something truly amazing. We also have one other honor associated with the AP Scholar program, and those are students who achieve what's known as the AP Capstone Diploma. We actually have 2 students tonight that were recognized for that. These are students who have passed the AP Research and Seminar exam and have completed what amounts to basically a mini dissertation that they complete during high school in order to achieve that honor. So we're going to recognize them as well. So first up for AP Scholar, we have Sarahi Aguilar. Next, Anna Alvarado. Noah Balboa. We do have a couple of students who aren't here tonight because they have things like playoff tennis and some other things, but we're going to go ahead and recognize them anyway. So we also have Xavier Collins, Melanie Cruz, Evan Halberdier, Jaime Lacombe, Josue Martinez, Camden Morrill, Sienna Narin, Nadia Olson, Keandre Reese, Diana Stevenson, and Joseph Villa. All right. Now the AP Scholars with Honor. Got Moez Chatta, Natalie Gamble, Lucas Halberdier, Abigail Powers, Blake Schneider, and Lillian Woolard. Now, for the top honor AP Scholar with distinction, we have Miss Liz Oliveira. Now, Miss Oliveira is also one of our students who's been recognized for achieving the AP Capstone Diploma, as well as Nadia Olson. So let's give them a round. Thank you guys very much. We're very proud of y'all. Just stay up here. We're going to get a couple of quick pictures, and then I'll meet you guys back out in the lobby. And parents, get ready. Let's snap a lot of them. I know.
We got the parents. Congratulations, guys. Good job, guys.
These microphones behind us don't turn on.
Yeah.
Like you don't turn them up. I know. They don't.
They don't. Sure do.
Just like I need to let every other one be. These don't. You found the one that turns off.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Griffin, on his way out to help organize everything out in the lobby, asked me to give a shout out to the AP teachers, 31 AP scholars, and they're doing a really phenomenal job. So, October is also National Principals Month, providing us an excellent opportunity to thank LaPorte ISD campus administrators for their hard work and dedication to the students they serve. LaPorte ISD principals include Tammy King, Bayshore Elementary. Okay, she'll be back. Lisa Basile, College Park Elementary. Linda Hyde, Heritage Elementary. Karen Lawley, LaPorte Elementary. Diane Whedon, Lomax Elementary. Stephanie Davis, Jenny Reed Elementary. And Maria Guerra, Leo A. Rizzuto Elementary. We'll get a big group shot. Tammy will be back and everybody will be in the photo. But let's move to our secondary schools. Tracy Greenwood, James H. Baker, 6th grade campus. Jason McConnell, LaPorte Junior High School. Jessica Rose, Lomax Junior High. Jesse Loudermilk, LaPorte ISD Academy of Viola DeWalt High School.
We're trying to hug behind you.
Here comes Tammy King. And finally, Dr. Cade Griffin, LaPorte High School. Here he comes. All right, come on in, Cade. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Cade Griffin.
Let's get 2 rolls or something. I'll squeeze
Good evening, everyone. We are very pleased to recognize 2 groups tonight. Our first is Community First Emergency Room. Community First ER has continually shown its support for LaPorte ISD and its schools in a variety of ways. Community First representatives have been involved in the planning of the new teacher luncheon through the LaPorte Bayshore Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Chamber's Sylvan Beach Festival that helps to provide scholarships for many LaPorte ISD students. The company also sponsored the Partners in Education Breakfast held last spring, and Business Development Representative Amanda De Alejandro has served as a mentor for Lemonade Day and the Young Entrepreneur Expo, sponsored by the Chamber and the school district. Community First ER also offers a Hometown Heroes program for school district employees, and most recently provided lunch and giveaways for teachers and staff at College Park Elementary, with many other future events as well. So I'd like to ask Amanda De Alejandro, who's here from Community First ER, to come up and be recognized. Thanks, sir. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Next, we'd like to recognize St. John's Episcopal Church. St. John's Episcopal Church has been a huge supporter of the Bulldog Bridge 18-plus adult transition program. Last year, St. John's donated half of its proceeds from its annual tea, $2,800, to the Bulldog Bridge to purchase curriculum and vocational kits. Reverend Stacy Stringer also notified Bulldog Bridge teacher Robbie Lassiter of an opportunity to obtain a donation of furniture, office supplies, and more from a downtown business that was closing. And a team of church members went with Mrs. Lassiter to get the items. This involved carrying 2 truckloads of furniture down 6 flights of stairs to bring them back to LaPorte. This donation enabled the Bulldog Bridge to have several on-campus job training centers, as well as many office and kitchen supplies. One church volunteer is helping students to learn cooking skills, while another has signed up to help in other ways. Several weeks ago, because of the church family's love for the Bulldog Bridge program and its students, the church presented the program with another $3,000 check for this year. The students plan to give back to St. John's by helping once a week in the church's garden area, where they will also learn valuable basic landscaping skills. Reverend Stringer was unable to be here tonight, but there are several members of the congregation who are here who have helped make this possible. I'd like to first recognize Marion Scott. and Wayne Norton. Mike and Terry Clausen. Travis Clausen. George and Sharon Mazariegas. And I'd also like to ask Robbie Lassiter, who's a teacher, to come forward as well. It's all good. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. What a blessing.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much.
Everybody good? Thanks again. All right, board, we will move to item 6, public comment. The board will now hear those who wish to make comment and who have completed and returned the public comment participation requests. This section will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act and board policy. As such, this is a reminder that the board members may not respond to those comments made in the public comment section. Complaints and/or concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. Sir, do we have any?
We do, Mr. President. We have one citizen, Mr. Philip Hoot, at 927 Seabreeze here in LaPorte. He is speaking on thanking board for cutting taxes.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Microphone's above or whatever. Philip Hoot, 927 Seabreeze. I know I'm way late on this one because I know y'all did this a long time ago, and I really do appreciate it because I paid them this year, and it was a financial boon for me because y'all did such a great job, and I want to thank the members that were pushed this agenda through. One of the other things I looked and talked about is that when I was sitting up on the board when we did the last projects, there was tons of money that went out of our O&M budget that went in to support the bond money, and I think this is okay. I won't say, but I think one of the great things about bonds, if you believe I said something great is about bonds, is that it takes money that normally goes into your O&M and it puts it into bonds. Because you always hear this stick, right? You know, we get to keep the money. You hear this stick every time somebody presents a bond. And unless you're taking money out of O&M and putting it in bond money, you're not keeping anything. You're just buying stuff. And so one of the things that I saw last time I was up here, and I hope y'all aren't doing it now, is there's a lot of money. Yeah, I guarantee you could put $8 to $10 million into your O&M budget by shifting funds out of your O&M into bond money. One is probably this guy's salary right here, because he spends a large amount of time on capital projects. His salary could go into it. Your lighting, your accounting, your computer times, all this stuff. Anytime maintenance comes in and has to turn a switch because they're fixing to work on a building, that money can be charged to bonds. There's just all kinds of money that can be charged to bonds. And I say this, and I usually people don't know who I am, and I really don't care if they know who I am. But I used to, back in 1989, 1990, I was a regional manager for the 5th largest environmental construction company in the United States. My branch did somewhere around $40 million, and we had like 180 employees working for me. That's $40 million in 1989, which I think is comparable to this district's budget in the same time frame. So when you start talking cost accounting, I've been there, done that, okay? So
I hope that y'all are, if y'all are looking for revenue, that's one way you can do it. Because think about this, right? So you're buying computers on bond money. Well, that's got a 2-year life expectancy, and nobody in industry puts computers on long-term capitalization projects. But in y'all's case, it makes sense, right? Because you don't want to be spending your O&M money on computers when you can take bond money and supplement that out of your bond. So from that standpoint, that makes total sense in your case. Not in private industry, but in y'all's case it does. So I hope y'all are, as a board, are putting pressure on this guy over here to properly account for money and get as much money out of O&M and put it into your bond money, because that's what it does. The other thing I'd like to say is, one of the things I kept hearing was audits. Audits just tell you you're collecting it in the right bucket. It doesn't tell you anything other than that. It doesn't tell you if you're doing it properly. It doesn't tell you if you're doing it right. It doesn't tell you anything. The only audit that tells you whether you're doing it properly is a forensic audit. And I repeat, forensic audit. Because a forensic audit investigates how you're doing it, what you're doing, and if you're doing it properly. And that's the only audit that does that. I know, like, when they'd make, at the end, you do an audit and they say, here, sign our audit. I'd go, heck no, I ain't signing this audit. I'm not going to be responsible for this. There's no way I'm going to sign this. So I never signed them. Anyway, again, I know I'm late, but y'all's meeting is the same time as my Bible study, and I'd rather go to Bible study. Sorry about that, but that's just the way I am. And so thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Is that the only speaker we have?
That is it.
All right. We will move on to item 7, our administrative reports. Dr. Jackson, would you like to start with your report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Board, you have a copy of the superintendent's report for October 2024. I won't read that tonight for the sake of time, but a few months ago, as we went through a portion of the strategic planning process, the board gave me a directive to begin looking at ways by which we could continue to promote and educate our community on the wonderful things that are happening in our school district. And so tonight, I'm going to ask that you give us just a couple of minutes to see a film or a video that's been done in-house. And a special thanks to our very own Sam Zabrowski, and you'll get an opportunity to see all the other folks that are out there. But we wanted to do this because this is something that the board asked us to do, and I think it's worthwhile, and certainly it will be a part of our social media output, but also it will be housed on our website under All About Us. And so at this time, Mr. Holland, take it away. Yeah, it'll play here. It'll play here.
Just 35 minutes south of downtown Houston, LaPorte is a vibrant community on the Galveston Bay. Residents enjoy beautiful bay views, boutique shopping, and a rich history, all in a relaxed environment. The area offers ample job opportunities and a high standard of living, supported by LaPorte ISD's focus on academic excellence. This combination makes LaPorte an ideal place to live.
It is a very quaint town, a wonderful place to grow a family.
Yeah, LaPorte's a great place to raise a family. My family's been here since 1983. I'm oldest of 6 kids. So we're well rooted in this community. Everybody seems to know everybody and really kind of steps up and helps each other when there's a need of any sort.
And that supportive small town vibe extends to LaPorte ISD, an HEB Excellence in Education state finalist, and home to 6 elementary schools named by U.S. News and World Report as among the best in the country.
One of the things that I think is exceptional about LaPorte School District is that it's a village. I believe in it takes a village to raise a child, and LaPorte is that. We have a lot of support from our community businesses. We have a lot of support from our parents.
Beyond the tight-knit school community, LaPorte ISD also boasts numerous opportunities for students, no matter what path they choose.
what I'm excited about with Porte ISD is that we offer rich opportunities for all of our students. We have some of the best programs for our advanced learners at the high school. We've partnered with our local community college, which is right in our backyard, San Jacinto College, and we offer early graduation and early college experiences for our advanced students for free, right here in LaPorte ISD, and students can earn their associate's degree and their high school diploma while they're here. It's really it's a wonderful opportunity. We also have rich STEM opportunities for all of our students. It starts in elementary, where kids are involved with makerspaces and exploring STEM in the earliest grades, all through these STEM academies that take them all the way through the high school and all the CTE offerings that we have for them. So really robust STEM opportunities for our students here. And then lastly, we are right in the middle of the Port of Houston, and we are right in the middle of industry, and we are capitalizing on all those opportunities for industry with a robust CTE program here in LaPorte ISD, where we really look at what kids are interested in, what workforce needs there are, and how do we make sure that our students, if they want to, leave here workforce ready.
LaPorte students in 2024 earned more than $1.4 million in college scholarships, while hundreds of students earned industry-based certifications. These certifications allow them to join the workforce right in their hometown.
There are ample opportunities for someone to be gainfully employed. We enjoy a high standard of living, funded in large part by area industries that provide people the opportunity to make an excellent wage for themselves and to support a family.
And as students prepare for college or the workforce, LaPorte offers plenty of activities to help them expand their horizons, including some that are one of a kind. LaPorte High School is home to one of the most advanced school planetariums in the country. We also offer a piano lab for our 6th grade students. The annual musical is known across Texas as one of the best, as are our visual and performing arts. In fact, LaPorte ISD has been honored nationally as one of the best communities for music education, and our athletics program has produced state champions, NCAA champions, and Olympic gold medalists, and several NFL players. LaPorte ISD is extremely proud of our numerous financial awards that demonstrate our commitment to fiscal responsibility. The district believes in a conservative financial approach and has been able to maintain a healthy fund balance for many years. Moreover, LaPorte ISD has the lowest tax rate in the surrounding area, and in the past 10 years, the tax rate has decreased by 48 cents. But the district is also fortunate that it receives support from other entities.
So in LaPorte, we have this amazing education foundation. It's been around for over 34 years. We are blessed to be supported by a lot of industry partners who help us fund grants for innovative classroom experiences that our teachers request for anything from 3D printers when they were originally coming out to fun games that get kids engaged in all the different lessons that they're learning.
As you can see, LaPorte is full of many amenities and awesome opportunities for young families to thrive. 25 minutes from downtown Houston, great school district, small classes, phenomenal staff. We're glad that you've chosen LaPorte.
Engineers from one of our large corporations came out and started a chess club. We've also had small businesses rally together to provide ice cream day for all of our students on the elementary campuses.
Community in a village here where teachers and administrators have invested everything into the community as well as the district. We run into our students at Kroger and we get to visit the parents. It's a real village, and I love that.
No, we're not Mayberry, but we definitely try.
Life in LaPorte is just better. as I continue with just this last portion of Superintendent's report for tonight, I want to publicly say congratulations to our very own graduate, Sammy Zabrowski, a LaPorte High School graduate of class of 2020, for winning a Lone Star Emmy Award. Sammy, who is the son and of the proud parents of Sam and Claire Zabrowski, got his start right here in LaPorte as a student working in LP Sportsnet. His Emmy Award is for his editing of the Longhorn Network's piece, Texas Volleyball Repeats as Back-to-Back Champions. Let's give him a hand.
All right, board, we are going to, there's no objections, we are going to move to item C, the Parent Square update, and then come back to our maintenance update. Dr. Brawman? Or, I'm sorry, Mr. Shockey.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Jackson. And Russ, I'm glad you made it, okay? I'm glad to be here.
You a little late.
I was telling him earlier that I don't know if I can present in front of him because he's going to make me start laughing or something like that, you know, whenever I look at him.
I'll just nudge him.
I'll walk out if you need me to. Melissa, just go ahead and elbow him every time he does it, all right?
Thanks for the commitment.
Brad Rogers and I are here to give you an update on our two-way communication platform known as Parent Square. What we'd like to achieve tonight is to give you a brief overview of Parent Square and what it has to offer to our district, schools, and family. Also, the milestones we have met since the spring of 2024 in relation to the rollout to our staff, parents, and the community. In addition, Brad will go over some dashboard data dealing with the overall snapshot, reach and deliverability, feature usage, and interaction. So we're looking at slide 1. On slide 1, this is a Parent Square overview. It states on here that it is one central tool. And the reason it states that is, it is the one central two-way communications platform that we have here for the district, for our families to be able to utilize, to be able to contact their people, their teachers, their principals of their campus. And so, you know, one central tool, and you'll find out, and I know that a lot of you have probably, in fact, all the board members, I checked on this, all the board members are registered for Parent Square. You should be receiving notifications. You should be receiving all that information. And it's awesome. It's a completely awesome tool. Also, it offers what we call quick translations. This reduces the communication barriers, increases equity, and automatic translations over 100 languages. So what this means is, let's say, for example, we have a Spanish-speaking parent, and when they go into Parent Square and they register for Parent Square, what they will do is they will check off that they are Spanish-speaking, all right? And so, or turn the button on, or however that works, okay? And then what ends up happening, let's say, for example, Kate Griffin from LaPorte High School sends this parent a message or a communication of some sort from the district. Well, it's being sent in English, but then all of a sudden it's translated into Spanish for that parent. Then when that parent goes through and translates, you know, writes back or maybe sends a message back to Dr. Griffin, then what happens is she's writing it out in Spanish, but it goes back to Dr. Griffin in English, okay? And so that's what we're talking about as far as quick translations are concerned. It is a two-way communication platform, and the reason I say this, and my thought process and what I think as far as Parent Square is concerned, the most important feature of it is with our campuses, with our teachers, with our administrators on the campuses, being able to communicate with their families, all right, on their campuses. Called family engagement is what it basically is. And when you find out, when you engage your families in your campus, that your kids on your campus are going to do good academically, and everything's is going to fall into place because they are helping you. They are your partners in education. Okay, so it's a two-way communication. And what it says here is that families will be up to date and engage with the content by completing forms, offering to be volunteer, and much more right from inside Parent Square. So like if I'm a principal at Heritage Elementary School, and I'm taking my kids on a field trip and I want a permission slip to be sent out, there's no more permission slips going through those kids' backpacks back home to mom and dad. They are all done online, and then the parents will provide electronic signatures to be able to sign off on them and approve their kids to go to the field trip. And so that's what we're talking about, and it's got so many tools like that it offers. Newsletters for the district to do. You'll see our website, Adam and them do a great job of posting, everything on there. And so it's really cool. Okay, so what it operates off of is really 4 basic modes of communication. Text messaging, emails, it's a mobile app that it has, and also a voice communication feature. And it does it this way because every parent that registers for it will have the email in there, will have the phone number in there. It makes it better for us to be able to get in contact with these people on the deal, okay? So those are the 3 areas. Now we're going to talk about some milestones real quick, and I'm going to turn it over to Brad. But Mr. Bromley, correct me if I'm wrong, we purchased this in 2023 summer, right? Okay. So we purchased Parent Square in 2023 summer. We really were just kind of trying to figure it out. We probably spent the whole fall semester trying to figure Parent Square out. And then finally what we decided is spring of 2024, we were going to go ahead and set it all up, plan the training, plan the implementation, starting with our administration, with our staff, with our teachers, with our parents, and start working on a plan of action for that, okay? We were very, very fortunate in the spring of 2024 that, it was actually activated in the summer, so it was there for use, but just nobody knew that it was there for use. But what happened was our National Honor Society's teacher over at the high school, she began exploring with it and utilizing it with her students and her parents in that group. We had a Lomax Junior High teacher. He kind of basically did the UIL competitions for Lomax Junior High. He utilized it and started to learn it, and he actually went to their UIL competition and was able to communicate with the parents on how the kids were doing during that competition. So it provides a lot of really, really neat stuff for us. So those were the test groups that we had set up at those schools that we utilized as those schools, and it just happened naturally on the deal. July, we did our administrative training. We also did a small one with our principals and our cabinet, I think, in June. August, we started our teachers training. Our instructional technology specialists visit the PLCs and the campus staff meetings for trainings that they had there. We also had sessions offered at LPU, several of them. I know I had 6 of them that day planned, and my crowds were they were pretty full during that time. At the end of the day, I was going, I don't even know how I did this, and stuff like that. But it was, and actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, this guy here and his staff are awesome because they work with me on it. We're doing a parent training actually this Thursday over at the Technology Center, and it's going to be an in-person or virtual type training for the parents to be able to, get in on it and learn some things. We've got it all set up and everything. And September, we're already in September, so we're past September. So we're basically letting them utilize the self-learning aspects of it so they can utilize on-demand and one-on-one training still offered for staff. And then October, again, I told you we're having those sessions October the 10th for the parents and October the 24th for the parents. So I'm going to let Brad talk to you a little bit about data right now.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about numbers. So he mentioned engagement. So an important thing about Parent Square is previously for all these years we had something called School Messenger. School Messenger's been around since the 90s. It was great for when it was, but it was a one-way kind of deal. It's just throw it out there and hope it gets there. Parent Square is really about engagement. So one of the metrics that we have at Parent Square is what they call reachability. And we can see on that top graphic that reachability is 99.8%. So what that means is that in Parent Square's automated attempts to email you, to send you a text message, to give you a phone call, that it was successfully able to get a hold of somebody 99.8% of the time. So it's doing really well with reachability.
But our goal is 100%.
Our goal is 100%, it always is, but we're getting real close to that. We have the brick. I'm not going to go over everything on the bottom slide, but essentially the talking points here are the number of emails. There's about 8,000 parents with emails, and we get 99% reachability on email. We've got about half our parents have the app. There's about 4,000 parents. Hoping to improve that. Hoping with some of these trainings on the 10th and the 24th that we're going to be able to improve that and get more people on the app. Because we're about 50% there, which isn't terrible, actually. This next slide talks a little bit more about the nitty-gritty. The big takeaway on this particular slide is there's a big number here under direct messages, 63,883 direct messages and 16,056 threads. What that means is that some staff member in LaPorte talked to a parent, and that happened 63,883 times. Wow. That is engagement. So that's what we're getting out of Parent Square is engagement. The rest of this is just kind of some calendar events and file shares, but really the important numbers I wanted to share were those engagement numbers, and to show you that really is getting utilized. We're getting a lot of great feedback from the campuses, and they're really just using the heck out of it. And the fact is Linda Hyde here? So a lot of the campuses are using it very well, but Heritage is actually the top user.
Number one.
Which you would think would be the high school, and they're number 2. You would expect them to be the top because they're the most teachers, but shout out to Heritage, they're actually using it the most.
Back it on.
Yeah. So we're getting really good engagement from the campuses and from the parents. So that's it. That's what I have to say.
And the last thing I would like to say, Ms. Crutcher and I attended a coffee for the counselor over at Rizzuto one day. And, I'm sitting around a bunch of parents at my table there, and I kind of asked them, I said, well, what do y'all think of Parent Square? And all you heard was, oh, we love Parent Square. We think it's wonderful. It's outstanding. We love being able to contact our principal or our school, blah, blah, blah. So, man, I feel like it's really going good. Really going good.
What percentage do you know of our parents are actually on it? Can you tell?
Yeah, actually, if we take a look at this slide, let me go back here.
Sorry, yeah, it's okay. I was just kind of curious.
So essentially, all of them is the answer. They don't have much of a choice but to be on it. They can opt out of it, but we automatically enroll you based on when you enroll into it. We do provide an opt out. You have to.
It'll make little statements on it like 8 families we have not been able to contact or something like that.
I know Kate is really good at the high school, was really good about communicating. And, we all know how important that is because we're ordering caps and gowns and we're doing all the things. And how many times do we see on Facebook, I didn't know anything about it. So,
yeah.
And there should be no excuse this year.
So that reachability number, that's the number where it's talking about how many parents are reachable.
Okay.
And for our student population, it's 7,100, 7,110.
That's really good.
So when the system is put in place, it connects to our SIS, right? So whatever contact information we get from the family, if it's part of we communicate with them, it connects to them.
Okay.
Yeah, where we gotta gain more momentum is in the app,
Okay.
right? Because that's more of the text messaging and the more direct communication. We can force an email to all of our families. That doesn't mean they read it, right? So through that process of them being enrolled and registering in our district, we have that ability.
Well, and they made a comment today that the app was what the parents use the most.
Sure.
That's all it is.
Because they can opt out when we send out those emails, they can say, no, I don't want it.
And the app is really friendly for the parents. It's very Facebooky. Like it really reminds me a lot of Facebook. So it's something that you're already familiar with, something people are used to using. So when you get into it, it's not like a foreign language. You look at it and go, oh, this is just, there's a post and I can reply to it.
So I want to comment. So Todd's not wrong. I love the app. Okay. I actually sent a message today to my elementary principal and was like, hey, I love the app. Because it really has made my life as a parent a little bit more manageable, because I have 2 kids at 2 different campuses and I'm getting messages from both. So for the parents who aren't on the app yet, do it. You'll love it. If you're getting the emails, this is another separate comment. If you're getting the emails, the phone calls, all the different things, you can opt in for what you want. And so if you have the app, you can get it to just come and get the message saying, I have the app. And it's one stop instead of, oh, I'm getting inundated by messages. Because that was, at first I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot. But then also, I don't want to miss things. So I have a couple of things in place. And that's for my, for what works for me. And then the other thing is for as a district as a whole, you want to know what's going on in the community, and like what's going on for kids and different things like that. You can go to Facebook or you can go to the district page, and it says some of the different things that are going on and specific to your campus also. So that is another tool in it that I love and has been a lifesaver for me. So again, couldn't be a bigger cheerleader. Who do I need to call to get them on board for the app? Just give me a list and I'll call them. But if you're not getting the emails or the phone calls, make sure you have the correct information at your school for your students, because they may not be able to reach you in other instances. So that could be
Are
the
they
reason why.
having to put their own numbers in the app, or is it
from
their registration? Is it all just shoved in through the registration? So they got to make sure their numbers are correct and right and correct there.
So what we're telling people, because it's pretty common that a lot of people have numbers that change, especially if you're buying like prepaid cell phones and stuff. So what we're telling people is, if you don't get it, contact the school registrar and update your information in our registration in our SIS.
Well, and there's a lot of information on our eSchool, what's it called, SIS? SIS, eSchool, that it syncs every night at 11:45 with eSchool, okay? And so I've had to deal with some situations on guardianship and with parents that one parent is a step parent, one parent is the actual guardian living with, and the other parent's the emergency contact. Well, the emergency contact doesn't get anything, but she's the biological parent, okay? And so what I've had to go in to do is change it to give her guardianship status, and then let it sync at 11:45 at night, and then she starts being able to register and get in on it.
Yeah.
So.
Those cases are pretty rare, though. It's mostly,
It's
most of the stuff we get that's not right is usually like, oh, that was a number from 3 numbers ago.
Yeah.
You know,
I have a question. Oh,
go ahead. Ian.
Is Spanish the only language that it will translate to?
100 different languages.
100 different languages. Okay. I just want to say that I've heard nothing but positive things about this rollout, and I've seen and heard a lot less confusion, people not knowing information or searching for information, because we're pushing out information, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah, and we're pushing it out, and you know, parents are normally, even the younger ones are normally a lot smarter than us older folks, okay, as far as that's concerned, but they'll figure out the self-learning aspect of it when they can go into the little question mark up in the right-hand corner and get on the help articles and things like that. You teach yourself that way. And so, once they figure that out, it's going.
I still go to the parents' Facebook page to find out all the information I
Well, I will tell you I too have heard nothing but positive things. As a parent, I get everything in real time, and I definitely appreciate that. And obviously the administrators and the teachers are using it, and that's important. It doesn't matter how nice it is if it's not utilized, and I appreciate that it was purchased and now it's being utilized, and we're seeing the fruits of that. So kudos to everybody involved in this one. This is a great report for sure.
Yes, you guys. So I spent some time actually in San Antonio last week, or whenever it was, with representatives from Parent Square, and they're really obviously very excited that they're in LaPorte ISD. They seem genuine, like good people, but they talked a little bit about some of the enhancements and things they have that they're always continually improving. And so you mentioned the word sync. I'm curious, like, have they ever talked about, because this is phenomenal, but will it ever have ability maybe to link with, like, for example, the tag, like, for the transportation. Smart tag, yeah. Is there any ever a possibility they can maybe link different apps that we have all within Parent Square?
Possibly. Because right now, those are kind of your bigger names in that industry, and usually they try to get in the back door and figure out how they can connect. Right now, they don't, but it is something I believe they'll do.
That would be awesome.
We are just touching the surface of what this program is.
I just
Yeah.
signed my kids up for the parent conference.
Cool.
Thank you both.
I've told Dr. Jackson and Dr. Bromley several times, and even the administration room, as far as technology is concerned, I feel like I'm a buffoon. But now that I've been working with Parent Square, I feel like I know something, okay? So I feel like I'm kind of part of Brad's department now. Technology whiz, okay?
I agree with you.
I tried to stop.
Paybacks, baby,
I tried to
paybacks.
keep him from doing it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If we don't turn our microphones on, they can't hear us online, so make sure you're using your microphones.
On,
Microphone.
Yes, sir? You're up. Board, we are going back to item B, item 7B, for maintenance and facility update.
Good evening, Board. Good evening, President Hanks, Vice President Martin, Dr. Jackson. Thank you for extending the invitation out to me to come and speak on some of the exciting things that are happening in the maintenance department. If you're all wondering, yes, exciting things do happen in the maintenance department. So just a quick recap about myself. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting everyone individually. So my name is Blake Warren. Proud to serve as your Director of Maintenance and Operations here in Friendswood. Oh, that's the first slip up I've had into.
Noted.
Oh, man.
It's the excitement of it all. It's
In
okay.
LaPorte ISD. So I was in Friendswood ISD for 10 years. So but I'm glad to be here. All right, I'll go back to my seat. Okay, so a wise maintenance director once told me that, you know, working in maintenance and operations is kind of like drinking from a fire hydrant. So it's, water's coming very fast. There's two questions that are constantly running through my head. It's what do I do first and what do I do next? So a brief overview of our maintenance department. We have approximately about 120 employees. That's kind of fluid with custodians and substitutes. We service all 12 of our campuses, the administration building, support services building, our special programs center. And when you add up all that square footage, we're sitting right at about 1.9 million square feet of classroom and office space. And with the Bulldog Stadium and Lomax Junior High Competition Gym, we will surpass 2 million square feet space that we take care of. So like I said, two questions that are constantly running through my mind. What do I do first? What do I do next? I'm coming to a brand new school district, so the first thing I needed to know, I want to go out and see our facilities. I want to meet with our principals. And, you know, if I were to go out there and just walk by myself, I'm not really going to gain a whole lot. I'm going to be lost looking where to go. So what I did, I extended an invite out to all of our campus principals. So it's called a walk and talk. And these are always readily available for any time throughout the year. If you just want to see, you know, what's going on with your facility, what we can do, we're always there. So we also initiated a curb appeal campaign. I'll talk about that in just a second. And we've also established a preventative maintenance department going forward. So like I said, I extended out invites to walk and talk with the principals. It had a very positive reaction. I was able to meet with most of our principals just to see, you know, see the campus from their eyes, from their perspective. They're there every day. They know the schools better than anyone else. You know, what are some things that if I were to walk through, I might not catch, but what are you seeing? What are your observations? How can we better serve you? So we did those. And like I said, sorry, a little nervous here. Dr. Jackson, a few weeks ago in one of our cabinet meetings, you asked a question and it had in regards to student enrollment. And said, how can we increase student enrollment? And I wrote that down in my journal, and right below it I said, can maintenance have an effect on this? Can we contribute to this? And I went home and I thought about it. I said, you know what, the first impressions of our district, we own that, our curb appeal. So the curb appeal campaign, which we have started already. So we have gone to Bayshore Elementary, and now we're at Heritage Elementary. So if you and your spouse or your significant other were looking for a home and you're driving around and you look at the front yard, the grass is overgrown, the concrete's dirty, paint's chipping, you're probably going to move on from that house, and you're kind of coming up to the determination that, you know, if the outside looks bad, you know, the inside probably looks the same. So we want to take that ownership of that curb appeal. So we don't want the curb appeal to be a negative influence about what's happening on the inside in the classroom. So we've already started that campaign. We'll be pressure washing all around the building. Parking lots will be freshly striped. All signage will either be updated or replaced if it's faded by the sun. Our grounds will be manicured. The fence lines will be cleaned. Parking lot lights are very important for security purposes. All of our teachers who get there early in the morning stay late at night. We want to make sure that they are safe and they feel safe when they're walking to and from their cars. And in addition to the curb appeal campaign, I've sent out an email to all of our campus principals to encourage them and to challenge them For most of our elementary campuses and the back playgrounds, you know, what the students and what the teachers see, there's usually a large area of concrete. And once we clean that, I've encouraged them to look for some ideas. What do you want to do with that concrete? So do we want to put Foursquare? Do we want to put some hopscotch? These are just some ideas. And I can already envision Dr. Jackson right now going over to Bayshore and playing some Twister, if he can still do that.
He already does that.
So these are just some ideas. You know, like I said, let's add a little bit of color to our playground. So I will say we do not have Picasso on our, Picasso is not one of our employees, but some simple stuff like this, add a little bit of color, add a little bit of fun for the students out at recess. Preventative Maintenance Department, this is a new department that we are looking to encourage and going forward. So we hired a project foreman, Mr. Jeff Wade. He's a staple here in LaPorte ISD. He's been here for almost 20 years. We've hired him to oversee this department. Some of the initiatives that they will be doing, they will lead the curb appeal campaign throughout the district. And we are looking for ways to establish and perform routine preventative maintenance measures going forward, because everyone benefits from preventative maintenance. So now the department vision going forward, so we're kind of focusing on one question. So, you know, in this industry, everybody, you know, everything should have been done 2 days ago or 3 days ago or a week ago. But the big question that we're asking ourselves, where do we want to be 1 year from now? Where do we want to be on opening day in August of 2025? So number one, we want to complete the curb appeal campaign. We also want to research, develop, and implement an energy management plan with the rising costs of electricity and energy that's going on, and a lot of school districts are operating on deficit budgets. So we're looking for ways, how do we, you know, just, how do we watch over our gas, our water, our electricity? What are some ways that we can kind of bring those costs down during these times? We also want to provide training resources for all of our staff. Our maintenance employees kind of split in half. You've got your older generation who's kind of getting closer to that retirement age or phasing out, and you have the younger generation coming in who may not have all those skills necessary to do a lot of the jobs. So we want to, you know, let's pass on that knowledge. So we're calling that team knowledge TK. So some of our older guys can train up our younger guys to eventually take over when they go to retirement. And we also want to increase relations among employees that are complementary to various departments. So all of our departments work together and provide good services to the schools. Now, I'll close on this. So coming into this position, I wanted to create a mission statement that was for all employees, all students. You know, how can I incorporate 7,000 students or 7,100 students, hundreds of employees, the community? So when they look at this mission statement, they not only just see a bunch of words, but they see themselves reflected in this. So our new mission statement for the Maintenance and Operations Department is from the front flagpole to the back playgrounds, from the foundation to the rooftop, through hallways and classrooms, from fence line to fence line, we take ownership and responsibility of providing LaPorte ISD with exceptional facilities to host each student's K through 12 learning experience. So that is our mission statement going forward. That is our pledge to this board. That is our pledge to this community, to this district, and to all students and all parents from the moment they drop them off on the first day of kindergarten to the moment they walk across the stage and get their diploma in Bulldog Stadium. We will be there to have them great facilities. So.
Well, I don't know why you were nervous.
I don't know. It's the first
time. So, well, I got a former coach right here. So
I applaud your vision, and it's refreshing. So I'm excited to see what you and your team are going to accomplish.
Thank you, ma'am.
You know, also, I want to take note, obviously you're very detail oriented, but I really appreciate the efforts to be conscious about the funds.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're looking in terms of conservation and how to mitigate some of those spots, but also looking how to add value without adding cost. The pressure washing and stuff like that. I know we've got labor involved, but that's a fairly inexpensive way to really enhance curb appeal, and I like that creativity there, and I think that goes a long way to accomplishing and checking all the boxes we want to accomplish. So kudos. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll tell you that Deanne about to jump out of her seat. She's so excited.
I am.
She's whispered, "This is great. This is great," about 54 times during your presentation. But I will say I drive around the district throughout the community at night, and I see lights on in every campus, and it drives me crazy. I understand they're on for a reason. Some of them need to be on, but I do appreciate that energy conservation comment. We went to a boardwalk at Bayshore Elementary. We didn't know that you had this curb appeal campaign going on, but we spent about 10 minutes outside talking about how great Bayshore Elementary looked, and there was even tags on the trees where we bought them. So I'd say you're doing a great job. I'm going to forgive the Friendswood comment at the beginning.
That was my first slip up. Not even on the phone I haven't said that.
Yeah, but
Just don't mention where you graduated from, that's fine.
we do appreciate it, and you're doing a great job.
Yeah, there's something, we talk about this in the private sector all the time, taking true ownership of whatever it is you're gonna do. And it doesn't matter how small the task is, do it to the best of your ability, and let your name hang on it. And it's reflective in your presentation today, and again, I really appreciate the initiative. Thank you.
We spent a lot of time with the bonds. I've done a couple different bonds, and I know sometimes the perception is that newer is better, and I think a lot of us believe that if you maintain things. So I'm most excited that you guys have this preventative maintenance thing. That's
the best thing ever.
That's my love language on that one. I mean, y'all do some great things with the beautification. I've seen the stuff. I saw y'all power washing at Bayshore. I've seen y'all numerous times now mowing the grass, the fields out at Baker. And that kind of stuff, this is the first, I'm not trying to jinx anything. This is the first time since I've been on the board where I haven't got like 10 phone calls about the grass on the field at Baker. And they seem happy, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job. And I know it's hard to keep up with all the square footage and all the field and grass and all the things, especially this year with all the rain and stuff we've had. So again, man, I think you guys and your team are doing a phenomenal job for sure.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good job.
Coming from industry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, coming from industry, the things that stood out to me were, again, the preventative maintenance, because, if you maintain it, it lasts longer and, save money, and also it's just safer, all around. And then, what you were talking about from I call it a workforce development standpoint, but training people and having them work with each other and learn from different generations and working forward to grow in their trade. We talk about personal development with the teachers and stuff like that, but having those opportunities in our maintenance department, that's great for future generations as well. And I happen to know a guy who works with the workforce development committee with the district, and we might have students that might be something that they are suited to do, and could be right up their alley. So I see a lot of potential with that program, with how you're doing that. So.
Thank you very much.
And I think that, I know that when we take care of our buildings and the kids arrive at something that looks nice and is clean, they take pride in that and they take care of it. And all the years I was at the high school, that was one of the biggest complaints as teachers we had, and even our students would complain about how dirty the building was. And so outside and inside, and that, seeing that change would be it would make a big difference. The kids notice. I don't think people really realize, but the kids notice. And they don't care if they drop something on the floor because they say, well, nobody else is taking care of it. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
And the taxpayers. Taxpayers like seeing their...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They want to see it well kept. They want to see it nice. So thank you again.
And we're glad you bought an orange tie. Fit right in.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
I love orange.
All right, board, we are going to move on to item 8, our consent agenda. The board will now proceed with our consent agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within this consent agenda will be acted on at one time. So, that's me, right? Okay, great. All right, consent agenda. A, determine and approve any consent agenda items. B, approve board meeting minutes. 1, regular board meeting minutes, September 10th, 2024. 2, called board meeting minutes, September 23rd, 2024. C, receive principal's report. 1, Early Childhood Center. 2, Bayshore Elementary. 3, College Park Elementary. 4, Heritage Elementary. 5, Jenny Reed Elementary. 6, LaPorte Elementary. 7, Rizzuto Elementary. 8, Lomax Elementary. 9, Baker 6th grade campus. 10, LaPorte Junior High. 11, Lomax Junior High. 12, LaPorte High School. 13, DeWalt High School. I apologize. D, receive financial reports for August 2024. E, receive human resources report. F, approve budget amendment. G, approve attendance waiver for September 16th and 17th, 2024. H, approve auction of surplus and obsolete equipment.
Pull, please.
I, approve interlocal agreement of joint elections with the city of LaPorte. J, approve interlocal agreement with Harris County Clerk's Office for facility use on Election Day, November 5th, 2024. K, approve purchase of boiler replacement at Heritage Elementary. L, approve purchase of student information system services and software. M, receive and adopt 2024-2025 district improvement plan and campus improvement plans. N, receive first reading and adopt proposed policy update to TASB local policy BQA local. O, receive first reading and adopt revisions to TASB local policy EFA local. P, receive first reading and adopt revisions to TASB local policy EFB local. All right. All right, board, do we have any discussion on any item? No? Okay, then I'll call, I need a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Mr. President, we have, like I said, items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, and P.
Correct. I apologize. Discussion? Motion?
So moved.
I need a second. Second by Mr. Shafi. A call for the vote. It is unanimous. Thank you, board. We will now go to item H. Mason, approve auction and surplus of obsolete equipment.
Does this say we're giving the auctioneer 50% of the revenue?
That's common. That's actually how it works.
Oh. Sounds like we need to become auctioneers. That's,
Yeah.
do we have to go out and bid for an auctioneer, or do we get this person through a?
No, we don't bid
buy board
for it.
contract?
Yeah, they're on, I believe they're on a co-op. This company
Co-op.
is. Yeah.
You believe, or?
We've not had an auction in the district since 2019, I believe, so this is the first time we're doing it. And it has nutrition and there's various departments, so it's a
I figured it'd be a lot of
very
stuff. That's why I didn't want to give up 50%
all the metal
of
to the
stuff.
west of the facility that we've had questions about, all that will go away.
And, you know, Mason, too, we go with someone like this because we get a better opportunity to get rid of most of it versus us trying to sell that stuff off for ourselves. And so it's pretty common. I've had it done in former districts I've worked in.
It's extremely hands-off. They come, they take care of the process,
Yeah,
they haul
I
it
went to
off.
the one
and
in
It's an
2019.
ACH to the finance office, so it's,
We just had to hire an auctioneer, and that's custom, and the other alternative is a flat fee and then a percentage plus. So that is customary based on everything that we reviewed.
Because they'll do all the work.
yeah, they do everything.
Right.
We just identify and tag
Yeah.
and they go.
Okay, board, any other questions? All right, I seek a motion. Okay, I seek a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Thompson. I'll call for the vote. It is unanimous. Thank you, board. All right, and we will move now to item 9, action and/or discussion items. So A, consider taking action on the Porte ISD Distinguished Alumni Staff Citizen nominations. Board, if there are no objections, we are going to table this for a later date. Yes?
Yes.
Okay?
I make a motion, do we need to make a
Yeah.
motion? Make a motion, we table this to a later date.
Okay, seek a second.
Chris, we have to put a date? Okay.
I call for the vote. And it is unanimous. Thank you, board. And I do wish to comment on that item that we, in the construction of Bulldog Stadium, we feel it just isn't an appropriate year to celebrate those honors, and we are going to extend those honors into the next year when we can have a more appropriate facility and recognize them appropriately. So there will be no loss of eligibility or anything of that nature. So on B, discuss campus enrollment and possible rezoning recommendations. Dr. Brahman?
Yes, sir. Well, good evening, President Hanks, Vice President Martin, Dr. Jackson, board trustees. Tonight to kind of circle back in discussion as it relates to campus enrollment and possible rezoning recommendations to put in front of you this evening. The first slide, and you should have this packet on your desk, just want to talk about kind of where we sit, and I put snapshot data on here. That's the most cleanest data, and we're coming up on that date here on October 25th as it relates to enrollment.
If you go back, I think it was last spring, we had a board workshop and we spent some time talking about some of these concerns that we're seeing in our elementary areas, specifically with declining enrollment in some different neighborhoods throughout our district. If you look at us today, we're seeing consistent growth, and I'll show you another slide here quick that kind of break this down over 3 years, but Heritage continues to grow. And if you add on ECC, that sits at about 94 students today, they're over their capacity on paper, 750. We're seeing, mixed movement from other campuses, and over the trend that you'll see on the next slide, it's not really concerning as you see, but with Rizzuto it is. We're seeing a dip annually at Rizzuto. Changes that we made going back to that board workshop as we walked into this school year that really helped, and I'll kind of explain this in a second, bring the enrollment up at Bayshore, and it took some relief off of LPE. We added a pre-K at Bayshore. So there was four, in 23-24, there were 4 pre-K teachers at LPE, and we ended up taking 2 and adding at Bayshore for the start of the school year. And that added 43 students, so that was beneficial to us. When you look here, and what we're seeing, and it's really not stopping, and you can go even further than 21, 22, and Heritage is on a trend each year, and not by program, by just general neighborhood of growth. And you can see that. LPE stays pretty consistent. I put the star there because that just kind of represents this year. We took 43 students away from them by way of a program move. So we technically did that. That wasn't a drop in enrollment. That was just a decision by the district. LXC fluctuates. It's grown, kind of capped off. No concerns there. Jenny Reed's the same. Over history, it's stayed around the 400, 395 to 415 mark, give or take. And then Bayshore, we were experiencing some of the concerns. They were about 380 last year, if you remember when we spoke. Adding that for 43 students kind of put them back up into the mid 400 range. CP has been very consistent, as you can see, over 3 years, extremely consistent. And then you see Rizzuto, and what we're seeing in that neighborhood, obviously an older neighborhood, kind of phasing out. We just don't have a tremendous amount of families in there, and our numbers are starting to reflect
Young
that.
families.
Yeah, young families, sorry. Yes, sir. Yeah, we got plenty of others, yeah. So this is the number behind that graphic that you saw, and you can see each year from 21 on to 25, and we go up 150 students at Heritage, and that doesn't include the ECC, which is also a hugely growing program for us, and really at this point is capped out. We have no capacity to grow anymore at Heritage. I think Linda's using some closets and a few others. We're not putting kids in but I'm joking. That was a total joke for the public record. And then Rizzuto, at one point in time, when you go back and look at historical data, there was at one point 592 students in that facility. I know there was a dual language program that at one point served that neighborhood and that campus. That's gone away. But generally speaking, the numbers don't lie in that we are losing kids in that neighborhood, and we're at about 300 as we sit there today.
And board, as you will recall, 4 or 5 years ago when we first started together, I brought a proposal to kind of try to revive some of those programs because I saw the trend of that, but it just wasn't feasible to try to reestablish the dual language program for what the net gain was going to be of students and families. And so I think once that program went away, it just wasn't feasible for us to do it. But we did spend some time
relooking at
for
that.
those that are new to the board here. We had conversations about that early on because I saw this coming with the population of youngsters dwindling in that Rizzuto area. Right. We were trying to figure out how do we do something to kind of draw more kids and families back to that area. Right. So we're going. I just wanted to kind of call your attention.
It's the only campus that we have currently that's under 50% capacity, so it's right around 40%. The building can hold 750 students, and we're at 300. So obviously we know that's a concern.
And let me say this as well, and the reason why is because Dr. Brumley and I kind of talk about these things in the office a lot. This is not going to be something that happens forever. Right. But I think right now you have an aged population where their kids are grown, but in time, that population is going to turn those homes over to younger families. We just don't see it just yet, which is why, it just happens. And it's a cycle.
How do you guys get the data set on that? Because if you go, I spent a lot of time in Old Fairmont. My grandparents were there in the 50s, and So the one of the ones on their street in Catlett alone, it's full of like regentrification of like younger families that are moving in, and maybe some of these kids aren't school age yet.
Right.
But how do we track that? Like, because you drive through that neighborhood across from the ball fields, like there's a whole bunch of new families, younger families, if you will, that are living in those homes. But how do we know, like, if they're just going to another district, or the kids aren't old enough, or like?
So when we start to pull out kind of who's in neighborhoods, I work with Ms. Rice, and her system can kind of identify who's there as far as also, yeah. So we look at the transportation, and then we go into eSchool and our SIS, and then identify any addresses based that should be coming to us. Also, we get reports through T-Rex and different annual reports that show students that would be coming to us but go to a different district. So it's kind of hard to clearly define it. But there are ways to look at what's coming out of different pockets and neighborhoods.
And how many of those families are going to Heritage for dual language or?
And there are some of them that are going for the bilingual and different programs in special ed and different components that we have.
I know the number doesn't show it in terms of like students at Rizzuto currently, but are y'all seeing in terms of the population of that specific neighborhood, that the numbers are shifting in our favor?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So if you recall back again to that workshop, there was heavy discussion of looking at mapping and zoning and cutting into neighborhoods, and we also brought up the bilingual program that is at Heritage Elementary. So what we're bringing to you tonight as it relates to a recommendation is to move for the 25-26 school year. We're wanting to get it in front of it now so we can start to have meetings with these individuals and parents and so forth. But for 25-26 is to relocate the bilingual program that is at Heritage. This is just an overview of the student count that sits at Heritage now. So it'd be about 244 students and 15 staff members. We have ample amount of capacity at Rizzuto to take on this program. As I mentioned, that campus was at the 590 mark back in 18, I believe. I got to go back to my exact number, but it's been there. So it's got the capacity to take it on, probably a little bit more actually to service it a little bit better. But it's the cleanest approach to be able to shift it. It's the least impactful. We're not going in and recutting out neighborhoods and, houses that's been going to this campus forever, and then we say starting next year. It's not that we're not looking at those things still. I think we're reviewing that annually, but this is an easy way to shift where we're going. There's only one campus that has a clear, that is zoned for an area that still has growth, and it's Heritage. We've got an apartment complex that's going up over there. That's where the growth is occurring, and right now, we can't take anymore. So we've got to provide some relief, and this does that. It also creates the ability for us to grow our ECC. We've currently got 94 students enrolled. By Christmas, we'll have 96, but there's a waiting list, and we have no more room. We can't, there's laws that are in that much different than the school setting of ratios that we have to have, and without space and staff members, we can't get to those marks. So obviously this frees up Ms. Hyde and her team to have more capability to grow that program. We also know that Jenny Reed is still low. That could be another possibility for us to add an ECC there because we don't have a centralized space for it. So part two of that is starting them at that age, filters them into our pre-Ks, and then gets them in our path to keep them with us. And that's an area that we're trying to create a little bridge in from ECC into pre-K into kindergarten.
These considerations aren't ever popular. You're never going to please everybody, but they are necessary in this climate when we're looking at strained revenues. We know that that's going to be a issue for a long time, and if we have capacity and we can improve efficiency with the resources we have, we're not adding dollars to it. We are spreading out so we can be more efficient, and there's a savings associated to that. And the reason I'm saying this on record is because I do want the public to start to be educated and understand that this is not a hasty decision. And again, you're not rezoning and cutting up neighborhoods. You're taking a program and putting it in a building that has capacity. And we need that capacity because now that building's more efficient. At 40% capacity, that building is not efficient. That building is costing the district more money to run it than if we are at 100% capacity, right? So we have to distribute this out to make it work. And there's gonna be some discomfort, there's gonna be some bumps along the way, but from an economics perspective, if we're gonna be fiscally responsible, we have to look at our efficiencies, and this is the only play we have at this moment, looking at this data, is you cannot have a building sit at 40%. Right? And I just want the public, we're gonna have to start having these conversations, and board, we're gonna have to do our work out there to educate, because that's the only way you can make these numbers work. We're not gonna have more money coming in. We've got to look for ways to be creative and judicious in our spending, and this is a big part of that. This is a big key.
Board, if you'll remember, in the spring of last year, we brought some of these ideas, and even as late as the summer, but we tabled it because we felt like it was rushed and we didn't have time to really talk to parents and the community about our plan. And so the reason why we're trying to do this early now is because we really want to take our time and scaffold how we educate and share this information so that it doesn't feel like, you know, in the spring, we've just spilled something on the parents and the communities and
And
families.
I would add too that, you know, when we moved that program way on the other side of the district, I was at LaPorte Elementary, and there were parents there that would not fill out the language survey because they didn't want their kids to go all the way across the district. And so this would allow this to be a more centrally located program that more parents, I think,
It will draw from both
would
sides
be
of the district.
Comfortable with.
Well, to Karen's point, this sounds like a great plan, but I guess I've never understood, because we are primarily Hispanic population and a growing Hispanic population, why is the bilingual only at one campus? I mean, is that something we see? Like, is it ever gonna hit capacity where you guys would say, yeah, we are gonna expand this out to another school? I just think maybe that's part of the reason maybe people go to their district. I don't know. But if that's our primary population, why do we only have that program at one school?
So I'll speak to it, and then if there's someone out there that, you know, can help with this and help Dr. Bromley and I with this. But here are two reasons, and I've seen this now in several districts I've worked in. Number one, lots of parents would refuse bilingual because they really want their kids to assimilate very quickly into English language. Number two, we have a heavy or a strong Hispanic population in this district, but it's generational. And so most of them already speak the language. They've been here for many, many, many years. And so kids just don't need that, and they don't actually they don't meet the requirements for it. So it's more of a newcomer issue than it is your generational folks that's been in the district for a very long, or in Texas or whatever, for a very long time.
It's definitely a support program, right, for those students who need those services and need that. So
do we have support? I mean, we consider programs for like kids that, I don't know, that are not native Spanish speaking that want to become proficient bilingual in Spanish. Not like, I guess that's what confusion for me was. This is all, we're talking about native bilingual speakers, but we currently don't have anything for kids like a second grader that wants to become proficient in Spanish, right? Like
that was our bilingual program.
Why do we not have that anymore?
That program, it's very expensive. That program was dismantled before I got here. And, but it's very expensive because it calls for 2 teachers per grade level. And so I think when the former administration started looking at kind of some of the things we're living through now, they had to make some very difficult decisions about it. And I'll tell you, Ms. Thompson was here. I really tried to kind of revive it because I didn't know the reasons why it had been dismantled. Because I was like, if people are leaving because they want to be a part of that, let's try to get it back. But after we did several surveys and several parent meetings, Ms. Viator, you remember that, Dr. Upchurch, you remember that, we did not have the response rate to revive it like we thought we did. So I think we should have maybe not gone away from it, but I know they did that for financial reasons.
I don't know if it was my daughter's last year, but she went K through 5 at Heritage in the dual language program. But there was attrition, like there was each year, the numbers started to drop. And I want to say by 5th grade, the class was much smaller, and that may have been the tipping point. I think her year was the last year that they did not continue it the following year, if I'm not mistaken. But there was attrition in there where the kids, obviously, she wasn't a native speaker. She was doing it for the benefit. And by the time it was said and done, the classes were entirely too small. I believe
18, 19.
Yeah, they had 2 teachers.
18, 19 was the first year that they, for Rizzuto, I know that had, they started phasing it out from kindergarten because I was going to enroll my daughter in it. And they were like, nope, sorry, we're not doing it this year. I was like, so the first graders just
592 to 558 that year.
So that certainly did some of that.
Tracks.
Yep.
I'm I'm not, again, I think you've already alluded to it, it's seasonal. This is not a permanent thing, but this is something that we have to look at right now in this climate with these conditions. It's something we have to take a earnest look at, right? But also, you know, in the future, look at revitalization, look at trying to bring that program back. But I don't know that right now it's a point of difference. And I think that when you are in lean times, you can't, that's one of those things that you can't offer. You know, we have to scale back when there's such a small group that may benefit from it. I may be off there, but I just feel like right now, you know.
Brother, I disagree with you on that. It's just that it's a monumental group that would benefit from it. I mean, I run the Chamber of Commerce, and so many people have a staffing company. Everybody wants to hire people that speak Spanish, like across the board. I have kids that I'll put in the program today, and I'm just curious that, like, to me, it's always about, you know, we talk a lot about our districts that we border against. Right. So I'm just curious, like, and I'll get off this subject because I know I open a can of worms. But if you guys can please tell us, like, other districts around us, Deer Park, Baytown, I mean, Goose Creek, Clear Creek, I mean, are they doing Pasadena? Are they all dual language? And so again, to me, we're starting to we talked a lot about tonight in the past about getting other people back to LaPorte. And I just think, like, I'm not gonna take my kids anywhere else, of course, but like, man, it sure would be nice to have that program here, especially if I want them to stay here in the Houston area and be productive members of the business community. That is an essential tool that helps a tremendous amount of people. And so, I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying we can't do it magically wherever we want to do it tonight, but the old superintendent way, he got rid of librarians, he got rid of nurses. I mean, there's a lot of things he cut cost on, and I wasn't here to be a part of that, so I don't want to speculate, but maybe some of these things we can look at, hopefully coming up, re-implementing.
I'm not an expert in the dual language process, but we have people in our district that are, but I have heard that there are ways, and we can explore that, and we will explore it, that you might possibly be able to offer programs like this or revive programs like this without it being the traditional model. And so we might have to have conversations and really go out and do some research on that. Right. Because that was the model that we used, but there may be new models out there where you can do it and you don't require 2 teachers. I come from a district with 50,000 students, and it was heavily Hispanic, and we had dual language immersion throughout the district. And every year as an assistant superintendent, we would have to collapse campus programs because we could not get enough staff to staff those programs. You could have the English teacher, but you didn't have the Spanish teacher, or you have the Spanish teacher, but you didn't have enough. And so there has to be some new models that are coming out that we need to look at. But
I will say it's also kind of I did it whenever Danette Hilly was a principal at Rizzuto. I was in the dual language, and it was competitive to get into it whenever I was at Rizzuto, but that year is not on here, but it was when we had quite a few kids, I believe. But also the issue is whenever we stop doing it in 5th grade, stop it in 5th, we don't have Spanish in 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then you can only do Spanish all 4 years of high school. We have so much going on, you kind of lose it. So I mean, we're kind of wasting time. But if we can figure out a way to be consistent with it, and if other districts aren't doing that, then I'm with Jeff in that it's a great way to stand out. But if we're going to implement it, we got to implement it right, not halfway.
I have a question off topic of all of this. Well, I mean, it's on this topic. The townhomes or apartment complex that's being built on Fairmont Parkway.
Yep.
That is zoned to?
Heritage.
Heritage?
Yep. Yes. That's near Canada, or further down a little bit.
Yes.
That's Heritage.
Okay.
Yep. And so partly to know that students are going to be in there and that we don't have the ability to.
In my mind, that was going to Jenny Reed.
Yeah, that Heritage cuts all the way down and takes that west of.
Takes that little
and then
jog.
I'm trying to think of the road, but there's Canada. Alyssa could answer that for me. But
just right down the street.
And then College Park picks up.
They're building houses.
Off Llewellyn.
I think the council just approved to build houses right next to the Hawthorne at Bay Forest as well. Does that go to Bay Shore, up between Wharton Weems and
I believe so.
That'll go to Bay Shore.
Bay Shore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions on the elementary side before I shift over to Baker?
Do we have to have elementary schools?
You know.
I'm sorry, I do. Real quick, just remind me because I'm drawing a blank right now. The current campuses that have a pre-K program are
College Park,
and
Bayshore, and LPE.
LPE. Okay.
Bayshore was added this year.
Bayshore was added this year.
Last year it was only LPE and CPE.
And those classes accommodate about how many students?
Right now we've got 43 students, 2 teachers at Bayshore. I think we got 93 at LPE, 22 per class.
I just remember I was a pal at Rizzuto whenever I was in high school, and I had a pre-K class.
Right.
And thinking centrally, I mean Heritage obviously, but for some of the runoff, I say runoff, but you know, the overflow.
Right.
Jenny Reed just seems like an ideal.
And we're looking at, we're
location.
still looking at some of that, and you know.
Yeah, that's just mentally, like, I was just thinking like, oh, we used to have a pre-K there.
You know,
we got a plan for that.
Yeah.
Programs are gonna have to grow us for a minute, because the neighborhoods are kind of, you know,
Yeah.
outside of the heritage piece, they've stayed, well, you saw the 3-year trend, I mean, they're pretty stable. So, we've got to look at some different ideas. We talked about some pre-K options, some paid pre-K, and what that could look like, and.
And we'll be bringing some of those options to you down the road, okay?
I just keep thinking all them COVID babies. I keep saying that,
Well,
all
we
those
thought
COVID
they would
babies.
be.
They're this next
I
year.
thought they would be, and so maybe we'll eventually see some of that.
They're gonna hit kindergarten next year.
Lord, I wanted Dr. Bromley to be in front of you tonight with some of this.
Thank you.
This does not require board action. This is certainly administrative privilege, but I wanted to make certain that I have your blessing for this and a discussion about it. All right, because I think we go to work tomorrow in really how do we talk to parents and get people, you know, and prepare them for August 2025.
And I would urge everybody to, you know, email your questions.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna shift to Baker, the Baker exploration, and then we started this work literally a year ago, and had several meetings, brought in Dr. Bayard to kind of do some survey work and some interviewing of the district and staff members, and just to let you know where we stand. There's 505 students at Baker, 52 staff members from teachers to aides and so forth. Obviously, we've got a principal, 2 assistant principals, and 1 counselor. As we sit and look at it currently as a 6th grade campus, just looking at some pros and cons. Now, you can get in the weeds. These aren't all the pros and cons. I mean, I think you can look at various lenses of what you feel is a pro and what you feel is a con. If you're a parent, if you're a taxpayer, if you're, you know, I'm not going to get in the weeds in this, but as we look at it and what it stands for as it sets, obviously it's a crossroad of the district. It's a meeting point as a 6th grade campus where all our 5th graders come together and meet. It's a transition year. And it serves in that to prepare our students for what 7th and 8th grade is. I can tell you as a past middle school principal, I was a principal of a 6th through 8th campus, had 1,300 students, and all we did with the 6th grade was try to put them in a little pocket in the back, all right, and protect them, because they didn't know what they were doing. That's right, there was a school within a school. They almost had their own bell system, because it takes time coming from 5th grade where they line them up, they hold their hand, all the good things, right? They're not transitioning, and then you ring the bell in 6th grade and they're moving and they're shaking, right? You got to teach that. So that campus serves as that purposeful instruction. We've got them all in one group. We're able to target that campus, you know, and I'll spend some time talking about where we are from an accountability stance. We've seen huge growth at that campus, and I think partly is we've got great leadership there, but we've also were able to come in and spend purposeful time and intervention and, you know, all those different things with Julie and her team. It's a bridge and a safety net, right, for the mamas and the daddies to allow their kids to go there one more year to make sure they're ready for the big world of 7th and 8th grade. Fine arts, there's numerous things, working with Dr. Burke, you know, beginner programs, same curriculum, you can spend time there. As far as master schedule with choir and piano, you know, it doesn't compete with what's happening on the UIL side, because right now 6th grade is not UIL, it's that pre-athletic place in time where we can spend a little more focus on who these kids are going to be. Obviously with cons, we know vertical alignment is hard. When you're trying to connect into 7th and 8th grade, we're at 2 different places, you know, so we've got to get very purposeful with getting those teachers together, ensuring that that instruction connects, and we're not missing anything. We all are aware there are 14 campuses and 10 districts in the state of Texas that still have a 6th grade campus. And I would tell you, if you looked at the data, we're probably the highest performing or one of them. But I think you've got to look at it in the lens of what was the purpose for and what does it serve our community. You know, I can tell you Galena Park ISD, I came from that district. That's where I, you know, came into Texas and served in that district. They've got Cobb 6th grade. There's about 1,200 students, but it's very different there. And they have to have that for the same reason, because they're about to go to North Shore Middle and Cunningham.
Where there's 3,000.
Where there's 3,000 kids. So a little bit different issue, different purpose of why they need it and why we may have it. We talked about transportation.
it's a struggle. Alyssa will tell you, and you've heard discipline and all the things. Now, we're in better shape there, but there's no neighborhood. We take them everywhere, right? So that is a con. If it was to go to LPJ or LXJ, if that's the route, then it would be easier. Staff certification, I think this is something that we may miss, and I put it as a con. If we were to think about sixth grade becoming, blended into LXJ or LPJ, we've got 30% of the staff members at that campus that have an EC6 cert. So they can't go teach seventh, eighth grade. So what would that look like if we had to do it? And obviously that presents itself with a con. So the recommendation, as we said here, obviously we know, you can get in the weeds on either side of where we stand on what this could be and what we could make it, or, whatever that looks like through Dr. Bayard's work or just conversations. But the campus is thriving. It's an 85, predicted 85. I know that's in lawsuits still, but the campus morale is good. We've done surveys. People are happy about what's going on. Ms. Greenwood and her team, Maurice Bay, Britta Carter, they're wonderful. I mean, it's a different environment in that place. Leadership makes a big difference as to what that looks like. Student discipline is down. So as we sit here in front of you tonight, obviously we feel comfortable with the best interests of the students that we serve and what it provides us as LaPorte, that campus kind of continues to stay what it looks like, and we just continue to keep a pulse and a monitor of what it is doing. Any questions?
I know that's been a hot button topic for this board for a little while, and again, I do acknowledge the improvements that have been made there. I think they're tangible. You can feel it when you go on that campus. I don't have a student there right now, but I do have a nephew, and all reports have been good from what I have gathered. Know several teachers and parents on that campus. Been very, very pleased. It is been a good synergy from what I understand. I also think, looking through the lens of our finances and what kind of changes would be required to make a move of that magnitude, I don't think it's the right time for us to even contemplate it any further. And I know I was a big proponent of that originally. And I really, again, looking at the totality of what we've got and what we're responsible for, I agree that it's not the time for us to make a move and change that campus at this. That's just my opinion. And board, I open that for your comments and your questions, but that's my take on the issue right now. Anybody?
I agree. I agree with you, Danny. We had a lot of reservations because we ordered. So the reason we asked to look into this was because we're citizens. We hear from a lot of people, and there were a lot of people that had issues with some things that are going on at Baker, right? And so we hear some horror stories. And as a parent to send my kid off to sixth grade, I had a lot of anxiety about sending him there. But I'll say this, I've been exceptionally impressed with the staff, and I think it started a couple years ago. Like, the staff there is phenomenal, and y'all done a lot of work, so I applaud that. My only question is a lot of times when we've hired consultants in the past, I agree with you that I don't want to see wholesale changes. I'm not saying that I want to see it go to a different kind of campus, but were there other things that were in this, when we hired this consultant, did they give us a list, it gives a list of like what was concerning to me when you talk about, we're one of 14 in the state of Texas, and every year that number decreases. There's got to be a reason for that. But do we have a plan in place, or is there any like positives, or hey, you guys can work on this as you move forward, or is it just kind of hey, we're good?
I'll reshare that data and those recommendations from Dr. Bayard. I'll reshare that with the board again. I and Julie Abram and Dr. Bromley and Stacy and others, we have looked at that data, and honestly, some of what you feel, we're not saying, hey, look over here what we're doing, but some of those recommendations have been implemented, which is why we feel like we feel. And, Baker, when I first got here, Baker was the talk, and I don't think anybody was not doing a good job. I just think there were some things that needed to be tweaked, and I think one of the major things that we did to help turn the tide was to add an additional assistant principal. Now, not only adding an assistant principal, who we added helped even doubling. And so, leadership matters. And I'm not dogging anybody's leadership, but leadership matters in all walks of life. And so each year we've begun to see the quieting of people complaining about things that were happening, because we are trying to address those things and then next year not have the same issue. So I'll share that with you, and maybe as we do that, I'll highlight some of the things that we've already started to try to do. But Dr. Bay gave us just some recommendations based on the survey results. Parents were very clear about some of the things they want. But if you recall, they were split 50-50 almost about whether we should or we shouldn't. This is our recommendation as an administration, because we feel like we've gotten a handle on this thing. If that campus was a 65 right now, there's no way in the world I could have this gentleman get up in front of you and say, we're gonna leave this alone, right? But we are showing that we can thrive with this group, and we will continue to monitor that. And so I'll share that data with the board.
We had, so if you guys ever shop in Seabrook, I'm 146, so there's a Kroger there, and forever they're kind of that purgatory, like, it was like a time capsule from 1990 or 85. They would never renovate that because they were always under fear, like the state's gonna come in and broaden the highway, and they didn't know they were gonna be there. They want to put the dollars in because they didn't know when that expansion on 146 was gonna happen. And I kind of view that, and maybe this seems silly, but with Baker, like, and this has been for a while, that we kind of consider, what are we gonna do with Baker? So it's like, there's kind of in purgatory. I know it's a new campus, but like, there's some things there, if we are not going to wholesale change this, that maybe we can look, I'm not proposing another bond, but like the gymnasium, for example, like the dressing rooms are far inadequate for the amount of kids that are in PE. And there's a lot of different things like that we can do, right? If we're gonna keep it as it is.
Things were part of that survey results too. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Are those things like with Dr. Baird, like, are those some of the things that we can address? Not today, tomorrow, but like here in the near future.
100%. And you know, part of the athletic side of it is gym space and sharing it, right, and having that. So I know back and not this bond, before there was talk of putting the concrete cover, and I lose the thought of what they're called, but yes, to answer your question, yes, we're looking into how
to Dr. Jackson's point about the leadership being great at Baker right now, and it is. But I'm sure that 10 years ago we said, oh, the leadership's great, let's not do anything. And then it gets a little rough on campus, and so we grab another great principal. Miss Greenwood, you're doing great. But if Miss Greenwood and her team win the lottery tomorrow, and we have a new shift of principals come in, so I'm just saying the issue continues down the road on occasion. And like Jeff said, there's a reason there's only 14 of them, and they're going to continue to trickle out of our system. So while we're doing good right now, I think we need to continue to focus on the future and what that looks like and what that looks like. So.
Yeah, and any of the comments I've made so far tonight, I want to emphasize that I'm not saying no to any of it. I'm saying I want to make sure the finances and everything lines up before we take action. And I just feel like the timing of it at this juncture is not that time. I'm not saying that next year, 2 years from now, it won't be, for all the reasons you've stated. And I think that we need to have a healthy reflection on, some of those points. But at this particular time, I just don't think that it was time. So, anything else? No? All right. Thank you, Dr. Barman. So with that said, we will move to item 10, action on closed session items. There's no action items in closed, so we will go to item 11, closing comments of the board trustees and superintendent, attendance at recent district and community events, announcement of upcoming district and community events, outstanding performance by district staff and students. Anybody?
Congratulations to Coach Bernithi to an 0 start.
There you go.
And I like the signs back there. I wasn't here at the last meeting. That looks good.
I don't think they were there.
They weren't last meeting? Okay, good. Then they're new.
Way to go, Combs.
They've
I
been
like
for
it.
3
I
years.
mean, I know they look good.
3 years.
They do look good.
That's it.
So just some highlights: FFA, tennis, aquatics, football, and AP scholars. Way to go! Y'all are doing great. Also, though, getting to see firsthand how our Sportsnet LP works behind the scenes and all the students doing all the different things. That was actually really cool. But to see all the kids' involvement and how they take the cues and things like that, I was really impressed. I had never seen them actually do that, other than just recording off to the side. So kudos to them.
Yeah, they do amazing.
Super impressed with that.
Super smart.
That's all I have on that.
I had a whole bunch and my mind is jumbled up, but I do want to say it was really awesome to go to the conference last week, and To see Dr. Jackson get his, in front of all the colleagues, and there's, I don't want to know, there's thousands and thousands of people there, to get the Key Communicator Award, that's a very big, prestigious deal. He gave a very, it's got, I know we recorded it, so there's hopefully a video around here of his speech, and so again, if you walk around any conference you ever go to with Dr. Jackson, it's kind of intimidating, because like every single person there knows him. He's like he literally is a rock star at these places, so it is kind of cool, but it's put, really, we do a lot of amazing things, but him being involved in it, like, put us on the map and drawing attention to LaPorte, so it has really been a cool thing, and I appreciate all your effort, and all you do for us. And then, I'll just something else I was gonna say. Again, Mr. Warren and your staff and you guys and Dr. Bromley, y'all done a phenomenal job. And that's not a knock on anybody before you guys. It's just I'm fairly new to the board, and it's cool to see some of these things that you know, people. We get all kinds of complaints about all sorts of stuff, but it really has been awesome not getting complaints about the grass and trash in the ditches. I mean, that sounds silly, right? But that's a big deal.
It's true.
And so I do appreciate that.
Ladies?
I just want to say that I was really excited to see the number of AP scholars tonight. LaPorte has a really large number of AP scholars for the size of our school. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Having a daughter that I'm very proud that was an AP scholar for 2 years, it speaks volumes for the faculty as well that we have on our campus, because in order to get those, kids have to be prepared to take that test. And so I'm very, very proud of the fact that we at LaPorte High School have a great faculty that do that. Also, I'm so excited about the donation to the Bulldog Bridge. Robbie Lassiter, Lopez, y'all are doing a great job. My son came home the other night and cooked his own taquitos in the air fryer. I didn't have to do it. And I know that sounds small, but when you're a parent of a 21-year-old with a disability and they're learning how to do things on their own, it just makes my heart so happy, and it makes my heart so happy to see our community supporting it. So thank you very much. Job well done.
Well, I was going to touch on all the great things that the young folks are doing around here, and our students, AP scholars, the good grief,
Bayshore Elementary kids.
Yeah, the choir this morning or this evening. Wow, it's been a long day. I took a recent boardwalk through Bayshore, and that was awesome. Went to the junior high. That was awesome as well. Those are always great times to remind us why we do what we do, and it gives the principals an opportunity to show off their campus to us and maybe some special programs that they have at their campuses. I want to applaud you administrators on your campus improvement plans. We do not pull those off of the agenda ever to talk about, but I know a lot of hours of work goes into those things, so kudos to you for working on those. The convention last week was awesome, the TASB convention. There were some great learning opportunities, but the highlight for me was Dr. Jackson receiving his award, and to Jeff's point, he has definitely put LaPorte on the map, which makes me scared when some people come to talk to him. It's like we're bodyguards, like, don't talk to him, don't talk to him. But anyway, that was a great thing to witness. And his speech, if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, was very inspiring about how we should all take ownership of raising our kids and how to advocate for that through public education. So that meant a lot to me. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. And keep doing all the good work that you do out there. It doesn't go unnoticed. The end.
Just a couple things. Ms. Hyde, congratulations on being the #1 user of Parent Square. No monetary award with that, but we do appreciate your utilization. I want to commend Partners in Education. Terry Cook, you are doing a great job with Partners in Education. You're seeing all of those activities going on every campus, and I'm sure each principal and all the staff and teachers are appreciating that. I will say going to those conventions with Dr. Jackson is like going with Michael Jackson. Everybody wants a picture with him, hang out, and your speech was very good, and we're very proud to have you as our superintendent in the district. Makes a big difference. Also in those conferences, it's great to get those educational opportunities, but it's also great bonding with the administration and the board. Sometimes you need that little refresher to learn about who those people are and not seeing Stacy as the CFO and just seeing numbers every time you see her. It's good to get to learn some of those people and get to know the ins and outs of it. Oh, and I also went to Angelo State, and I taught everybody this weekend what the Angelo State hand signal is, and it's this. And our CFO is great at numbers, but she's not good at hand working. So, but with that, I'll end. Thank you, everybody. It's also very refreshing. Deanne and I drive around campuses sometimes and look at the grass that's not mowed, and it's all been mowed. All the pressure washing is done, and so Deanne hasn't had anything to complain about in a while. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, I could be a broken record with all those accolades. Everybody's doing a great job. We really appreciate that. But I had the opportunity, I did not go to the conference this past weekend, and I did attend Miss Angelo's memorial. And I was one of her kids, and to see her legacy and to live it out, I mean, it reignites why we do what we do and why you do what you do. I didn't graduate college. I have a lot of college hours, but I don't have a college degree. But the experiences I took from this district have made me who I am, and she was such a large part of that. She was a legend. Her legacy will live in all of us, and you know, it lives in you and what you do, and it does matter. It really does. Everything that you do, the impression you have on these kids, it matters. So thank you. Continue to do that. And with that said, we will close at 8.